I'm never happier than when I have a fishing rod in my hand, because I make my living arranging trips to some of the world's best fishing destinations and have fished all over the world. I love visiting new destinations, so I was easy to persuade when my colleagues thought I should sample the great trout fishing they'd been exploring the year before. So, alongside good friends from Denmark, Sweden, Norway and France, I traveled to the southwestern part of Greenland. As promised, an incredible fishery in clear rivers a long way from any civilization awaited us. But there was much more to be found. Breathtaking scenery, the joy of a simple life in camp, and, not least, something I didn't even know we were looking for. In the fells, we found a needed break from cell phones, alarm clocks, and day-to-day routines. My first impression was the air. I don't think I've ever experienced it so freshly invigorating. And perhaps it was that special kind of dry, fresh air that made us forget that we'd already traveled many hours. And though it was late, a few of us simply couldn't resist fishing for a few hours before we finally hit our sleeping bags. This morning, everyone has risen early. Last night, we'd ended up fishing by a large waterfall, and in the big pool beneath the fall, lots of aggressive chars had been hitting our flies. So there was no doubt where Auden should have his Arctic char debut the following day.
Come on, cast in the middle, a long strip. Long strip. Long, slow, long. Oh, kom her! Long, easy strip. Så jævnt som muligt, Auden. Hold kæft, man! Åh! Jeg kan ikke gjøre dette når jeg blir gammel. Da kommer jeg til å kvelle i torvet her med en gang. Sett det! Kom igjen! Kom!
The chars are hitting Auden's fly over and over again. Often they even follow it for a while, but something's lacking.
Nej, jeg tog den! Jeg tog den! Skal jeg stoppe, eller hva skal jeg gjøre? Yes! Nej!
When they do take the fly, luck is not on his side. In spite of, or maybe because of, the four of us are offering endless advice and encouragement. Then Auden changes his foam fly for a streamer. And one missed take later, the curse is finally broken.
Nå bytta jeg til, nå har vi kjørt poppere litt lenge, og så bytta jeg til en litt fortynga
Rødlig flue, fiska helt I utkanten av den store steinen der, og den tok altså, se på den! Se på den! Ah! Ai, 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 jeg må ha hoven. Det en drømmefisk! Fisk altså. Ai, 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 for en fisk. Kom igjen. Ja! Se på den. Vi må gå ned I vannkanten. Sånn.
Maybe it's the combination of a new fly and the wind picking up. But one thing's for sure, he's now past his performance anxiety.
Det flott fisk. Nå det dobbelthugg her. Det en flott fisk. Ja. Hopp, 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 hopp. Større. Perfekt. Flott fisk. Nei. Der. Gi meg 10 sekunder. 1. Der var den etter. 10 sekunder. 10 sekunder. 10 sekunder! Dette helt utrolig, altså. Det jo... De har preferanser for stein. De liker stein. Ja da.
I think I've cracked the code by fishing a white fly on a steady retrieve, almost skating it across the river in one long pull.
Der kom bølgen. Kom nu. Ja!
That does it, at least after 2, 3, 4 or 5 chances and some cursing.
Sat. Der kommer den. Kom nu. Ja! Ui! Ja! Nej! Nej! Oh! Oof!
By the way, don't plan on getting to bed early if you're coming along to Greenland. The nights can be a bit too bright. And the fishing, well, it can be way too good. Every 12 hours, the tide will allow more fresh fish to enter the river. During those periods with the highest tide or following a great amount of rain, hundreds of fresh Arctic char will run the river. They usually spread out fast along the river, but if the water's a little low, they might have to squeeze together and wait for the river to rise. When this occurs, almost overwhelming concentrations of chars can be found. At a large waterfall, we discover what almost looks like a little ditch in the rock. It works as a natural fish ladder for those chars persistent enough to try their luck, though it's no easy task. We sneak up to this little ditch, camera in hand, and witness a magnificent sight. Most of the fish don't make it, but a few have made it all the way. The rest of them will wait until the rain starts the following night and the water rises, making it much easier to pass the fall. Fever fish and a clear blue sky make the fishing tougher during the day. The solution is fishing a small streamer. This isn't a big fish, but big enough to force me to run after it, trying to prevent the line from being cut by a big rock in the middle of the river.
Fedt nok i det her lys.
A few hours have passed. The shadows are longer and the declining light has made the chars less spooky. Olivier is ready for another try at skating the foam fly. On the very first cast, the fish shows some interest. Another cast, and another fish is following the fly. And on his third cast, it happens.
Đấy, fight well. After a few days with plenty of fish like this, we're ready for a new challenge.
We're getting ready to leave this river and make our way to another, where the rest of our group has been fishing in the meantime. The river flows through two bigger lakes before meeting the ocean. That requires a hike round the lakes, but once we find the river again, it's a magnificent view that awaits us. In the valley surrounded by high mountains, the river is making its way through green meadows. Calm bends and deep pools are being followed by fast and shallow water before meeting another undercut bank or fine pool. This is our dream of the perfect trout river come true. Kim Jørgensen from GetAway Tours has promised to show master chef and fly fisherman Thomas Svensson one of the river's top spots. The night before, while Thomas was preparing another delicious dinner at our camp, Kim caught 3 big Arctic char in 20 minutes of fishing. "You must show me that spot tomorrow," Thomas insisted, while dinner was being served and the air was filled with fishing stories. It always pays to be on good terms with the chef, so here we are. After a few pointers from Kim, the fly fishing chef is ready for some action.
Aj,
The first one got away, but soon Thomas is getting the hang of it. In this fast and shallow water where the fish will often hold in the middle of the river, a quiet approach is important. Then it's sometimes possible to catch several nice fish, swinging a streamer or skating a foam fly across the water.
wow. Yep. Oh. Yep.
When our chef Thomas has landed a few nice fish, The guide Kim can't resist the temptation of having a go himself. There is at least one nice fish left in his hotspot, and he expertly shows how to catch it within a few casts. We don't like thin leaders or light tippets. Instead, we try to fight the fish rather hard to minimize stress. After a quick fight, the barbless hook can easily be removed. With several days of great fishing, even the most dedicated anglers might benefit from an easy start. At least that's our excuse this morning, where the weather has changed for the worse, and Morten and I are swapping our hike to the upper river for a short walk to the lake and some still water fishing only a few minutes away from our camp. We're barely 200 yards from the sea, so the fish we normally catch here are as fresh and as bright as they come. Though the fish in the lake haven't any current to use to their advantage, they still fight like mad. And look at this fish. And look at this. Small for Greenland, but short and fat. A fish like that would have saved the day when fishing for sea trout off the coast back home. Christian is one of GetAway Tours' experienced tour leaders, but that hasn't satisfied his hunger for catching fish. On the contrary, since we arrived, he's been running up and down the rivers catching one char after the other. Our photographer Niels found him here, just as he thought he had his favorite stretch of river all to himself. In only a few days of fishing, Christian has already developed an addiction. It has to do with foam flies and char takes on the surface. Further upstream, Fleming is starting to suffer from the same addiction. Just one more take. Who would ever get enough of this kind of fishing?
Ja, jeg løsner lige bremsen.
The foam flies are an important part of the fishing on these rivers in Greenland. Morten Oland is one of Scandinavia's most skilled fly tyers, and here he shows us how to tie one of those high-riding char magnets. When the fly is finished, the barb is crushed and it's ready for a test drive. Two good friends are already busy at it, so we continue on towards a big bend that always holds at least a few good fish. Here it often pays to wade out a bit, as the fish are normally close to the opposite bank. Morten is fishing the newly born foam fly with long, steady retrieves. Every day is different, but most often a retrieve like this, where the fly doesn't pop but instead is constantly pushing a little wake in front of it, is by far the best. It can be a tough challenge to fish alongside Morten. After having humiliated me with a couple of fish, well, I've had enough. I find another good spot. and this time it's only me, the foam fly, and hopefully another bunch of nice char holding close to the opposite bank. It's a special feeling fishing a river where the scenery and the number of fish probably hasn't changed over the last few centuries. It feels as if you're the first person ever to fish this river. But the discovery of several Inuit graves close to the river, some of them hundreds of years old, tells us that this isn't the case. Maybe those thoughts are distracting me. Maybe they're the reason I missed the first take. Maybe not, but it's no big deal. Most often, you get a second chance on these rivers. The following day, we decide on a little expedition to explore the neighboring river. An hour and a half's hike away, a smaller and in some places much faster river is draining a large lake. We know it should hold a good number of Arctic char, but that's about it. So, with a GPS in hand and fishing gear, lunch and a small camera in our backpacks, we're off looking for a new adventure. We're catching plenty of fish in the new river. Maybe it's because we're hitting it a long way from the sea. Maybe the fish are just running this river earlier. But for one reason or another, we're catching a lot of beautifully colored fish. Olivier finishes off the day in style with this nice and heavily built char, caught on a short line and streamer in the strongest part of the current. There is nothing special about the fly tackle we use for Arctic char. A 5 or 6 weight graphite rod around 9 feet in length and a reel that can handle the many runs is fine. My favorite rod for Greenland is a 6 weight with fight butt and plenty of backbone. This rod allows me to fight the fish quite hard. My fly lines are always floating when fishing the river, while a sink tip line or a fast sinking leader can be a better choice for the lakes. Some of the rivers in Greenland are also perfect for a light two-handed fly rod, as demonstrated by Morten Oland, who's having some fun fishing a two-handed 5-weight. This might appeal to some salmon anglers who enjoy casting and fishing a two-handed rod, but wouldn't mind catching a lot more fish than an average week of salmon fishing can offer.
godt.
The rivers our guests are fishing are all perfect fly waters. Spinning is often limited to the areas closer to camp. We also insist it's to be carried out with single hooks and no barbs. Suited tackle is light rods of 7 to 8 feet, small fixed spool reels and a low diameter braided line. A lot of different lures and spinners will catch fish, but with a handful of red-bodied Vibrax spinners, you're all set. That is what we asked Christian to demonstrate on an afternoon so windy that casting a fly was almost impossible anyway. On the best spots, it usually only takes a few casts before the little spinner is attacked. Those char that just came in from the sea will often swim around in small schools along the lake's steep drop-offs. Once the school is found, it's normally possible to catch several fish before the school has moved on.
Fin fisk.
The nice chars caught by Christian were returned to fight another day. Not all are that lucky. In fact, we usually grab the camp spinning rod and walk the short distance to the lake to catch a few fish for the kitchen. Having grown fat on a diet of Greenland shrimps, their meat is red-colored and tastes great. However, there is more to life than fish and fishing. On our last night in camp, our chef is treating us to big, juicy steaks. And a bottle of red that has miraculously survived a week in the fell suddenly surfaces. Yes, life in a camp doesn't get any better than this. Is there any better way to end such a night than by sitting around a campfire, sharing a bottle of scotch, and some serious storytelling? And that's where our story of a truly great week during Greenland's short but beautiful summer should have ended. A week full of breathtaking scenery, tons of fresh air, and great company, and of course, lots of unforgettable fishing memories. We're all done, happy with the fishing, and without the need of catching another fish for some time. All but one, that is. While everyone else is lying in, Christian has risen early. He just wants to catch one more nice fish, and he persuades Niels to document it with the camera. If he hadn't succeeded, this film would already have ended. But we still have several minutes to go, so lean back, enjoy the sweet music from Christian's spinning reel, and just ask yourself, wouldn't you like to fish Greenland with us one day?
Det er en god fisk, det her. Der er ingen tvivl om. Har vi noget fisk ud?
Ja,